What are the benefits of co-living? What a detailed question you could ask, you know? No, I say that because we were going over potential topics for videos and content for you, for all of you across the camera. And my business partner was like, what are the benefits of co-living? And I was like, really? That's the most descriptive we can come up with? But I thought about it and I was like, that's a perfect name for a video. So, hey, here are some of the benefits of co-living. And I want to take two different approaches to this question because there's really two pieces that I need to look at. And recently I got written up in an article that just like called me out for being a greedy, scum of the earth, landlord, investor, baron, putting as many people as I possibly could in a house. And I read the article and I laughed and they were like, these rooms are well nigh unlivable. And I was like, yeah, you should see some of my houses. They're not exactly unlivable. They're actually pretty damn nice. But that's not where I'm going with all of this, but thank you for letting me vent. And what ended up happening though is it really was a good lesson for me because it got me thinking about who I'm talking to in this content. Like one, investors. You might be an investor, but then also, have you ever had a roommate before? If you have, then you've been living in a co-living situation or what they call a shared housing situation, right? So there's two types of benefits. For investors, there's really, I think, three main benefits on why you should consider co-living for your investment portfolio, why you should have at least a couple of co-living houses, or where you should do what I'm doing and going all in on co-living, right? Number one, it's got great returns. I know some of you that are maybe thinking about this more from the tenant side are like, yeah, see, you are a greedy investor. You're talking about returns. No, but guys, investors have money and they have a responsibility to have that money produce a return, or they're a crappy investor. So they should look at things that have better returns. So co-living has better return. That's the key here. So we're just talking about this. Just put on your investor hat for a second. We'll put on your tenant hat in another moment. So returns, right? You can't even make money in Charlotte, at least. Very difficult to make money in Charlotte by just renting out a home to a single family. If anything, you're losing money on the deals, right? So we need to look at some other strategies. So returns for investors. It's higher because you're fitting more people in a house, there's a demand for it, and people want it, and if you do it right, this house stays full, and it's great. That's one. Second thing is that it's a safe investment in my personal opinion, and here's what I mean by safe. You know, I just came back from Austin to visit a good friend there and kind of brainstorm life and business and what we think is gonna happen over the next 10 years in our economy. No doubt about it, we're in for a little bumpy road. I'm not saying everything's gonna crash or everything's gonna go to hell. I'm just saying, hey, we're in for a bumpy road. There's some unknowns out there. How are these big macroeconomic things on the world scale gonna play out? And how are they gonna affect some things? But here's one thing that is really interesting. Inflation hasn't stopped. We still have inflation. That's gonna put upward rise on prices of all things, but specifically housing and of course, food and clothing and all those different things. My wife's trying to buy some furniture right now. It's crazy what you can spend on furniture due to inflation and how long it takes to get in. But that's a whole nother video, not for today. So number two is it's a safe play. If you're gonna be providing housing for people, everybody will always need a place to live. And if you can create a place that's quiet, that's clean, that's safe, and that has a really cool community feel, then you're gonna be providing affordable housing, which is one of the biggest crises facing America as inflation has continued, right? I'm worried about investing in more Airbnbs. Because think about it. If I have a luxury Airbnb on the lake or in Asheville and the economy takes a hit, guess where people are gonna stop staying, right? Guess what people are gonna dial down? Things that just take up disposable income, like vacations and fun things and things that they would do with their, you know, and all those things are made up of disposable income. And if disposable income goes down because our economy takes some sort of income level hit, or they get laid off, or unemployment starts to rise, then absolutely, right? So number one is you've got the returns. Number two, you've got, I believe it's a safe play for the future because we're providing affordable housing, people need a place to live, and it's a huge deal right now. And then the third thing is that you actually get to help people. And so I am throwing this in there because as investors, we're mostly concerned about returns. And then if it supports and helps the universe and helps the world and helps our communities, like great, that's an added bonus. But let's put our tenant hat on for a second and pretend you're a tenant like I was for almost 12 years in co-living spaces. I eat my own cooking around here. Now, to be fair, I don't live in a co-living house anymore. However, for 12 years, I did live in a co-living house, even to the point where I met my wife. She was like, you can't live with 6 roommates anymore, okay? So what are the benefits of you as a tenant? Like, why should someone stay at a co-living place? Number one, it's one price and everything's included. And I mean everything. Your house gets cleaned. Your grass gets mowed. Your electric bill stays on. You don't even have to put a deposit to put the electric in your name. For those of you that had your own apartment, your own place, right? Your water stays on, your gas stays on, your heat stays on. If something breaks, guess what? Boom, our team is there to fix it. So imagine no variability in your bills. You know, I'm paying $800 a month or $850 a month or $900 a month, and everything's included. Oh, I forgot to mention high-speed internet, trash, sewer, water, all that stuff, right? And it's just nice because you can budget. We found a whole new population coming in to co-living that's like 60 years old and older. They're on a fixed income. That's not necessarily going up as fast as inflation is, if at all. So guess what? They need to be able to budget, right? Energy prices are increasing. We've all seen gas, electric bills have gone up, right? This is really, really, really important. So from a tenant, it's that fixed price. Two, there's a community aspect to it. So for a tenant, if you're new to an area, even if you're not new to an area, but you don't mind sharing a little space, you still have your safe, room with your lock on it and all of that. But if you want to meet people and you enjoy people, and you also want to know that those people are vetted well, they have had a background check done on them, they're good people, then co-living is for you as long as that landlord is vetting those tenants correctly. And the other thing is just the ability to be maybe a little bit more flexible, right? So a lot of our leases, they start at 1 year and then they just roll to month by month after that, which is pretty typical for maybe some apartments or things like that. But we don't force our tenants. We hey, if they've been there for a great year, they can just continue to renew at a month by month rate as well. So you're gonna get a better quality product at a lower price that allows you to have a built-in community and everything's there. The houses are furnished, so you don't even have to furnish the common areas. You just have to furnish your bedroom, and that's a plus if you don't want to go out and buy a bunch of new furniture as a tenant. I think I wrote down one more thing, so I'm gonna see because I feel like there was one big thing there. Nope, those are a couple of the ways that it benefits tenants. Also, I would say this last thing, it's fun. As someone who lived in co-living spaces for 12 years, it's a blast. I got to meet people from Mexico. I got to meet people from all over. I got to meet people that were here for 6 months or a year just on a short-term contract at Bank of America. I got to meet some amazing people that didn't want to sign for a whole lease on a whole apartment. They didn't need that much space. They were going to be in and out. I got to meet pilots. I got to meet some really amazing people. I even officiated the wedding of one of my housemates because we got close as we were hanging out. Okay, those are some of the benefits for the tenants, and those are some of the benefits as an investor to look at co-living as we help solve the affordable housing crisis.